I don't know. I know Rocksteady has said they ain't doing another one, but that doesn't mean it's
that
over.
doesn't mean it's not gonna get put. Yeah, you're
actually,
right.
that means it's over.
well, don't forget. Remember Origins?
You gotta take them at their word. They would never lie.
So that means it's over. Like Assassin's Creed, I think back to that game. I think like the first one was, you know, a mixed bag. The second one was received really well. Then the third one was like mixed bag again. The fourth one was received pretty well. Unity was mixed bag, and so I guess what we're set to do for a good one now. in between
the second and the third one, you had Brotherhood and Revelation.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, I forgot about that. Brotherhood and Revelation. That's right. That's right.
I saw an article the other day said
you forgot those 2 years.
I mean, dude, you want to talk about running a franchise into the ground?
Yeah, I think the every year thing is not smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Like, how do you guys thoughts on annual releases for games?
I'll let somebody else answer first.
What about you, L1 Gaming? How you feel about that?
I know how I feel about it.
I was thinking about that. I think it depends. I think if you have two separate teams and they're all, you know, piggybacking, like one's working on one team that's going to come out in 2 years, and this one's working on this game that's coming out in 3 years, so that they come out, you know, 2016, 2017, that's fine if they're totally separate and they're totally, you know, working on the game. But if you're rushing the same team to just, grab most of the code from this year and just go in there and change everybody's name and hair color,
copy paste,
and then
baby.
let's put out the game again,
copy paste,
and let's just change all the buildings to make it look like we're in France. It's like I don't think that's gonna work. But it's not that much of a change. I mean, you really want a different experience when you're. I mean, obviously, when you're looking at a game like Assassin's Creed, you're looking for some kind of similar experience. I mean, it's going to be an assassin. He's got to jump on people and slit their throats and do whatever. And I always thought the fighting mechanics in that game could be way better. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
always thought that it would. I always thought that it would be kind of cool if it was mixed, kind of like if you run around in Dark Souls, you're gonna have everybody and their mother coming after you to kill you at the same time. They're not gonna stand in line to kill you. They're gonna all take a swing at you at the same time. Right. I always thought it was really weird that you're on this boat and you got 5 guys around you and you're only fighting one person. The rest of them are being very polite, even though they all want to kill you. So I was like, well, this doesn't make any sense. So I thought that
always reminded me of like them old like action movies where like one guy is surrounded by like 20 dudes. And only one dude at a time coming rushing
garbage.
in. Like,
yeah, that makes no sense to me. It's like there's like 5-6 guys around you, and every time you kill one, they add another one. It's like, wait, you should be dead already because there's way too many people here.
But you know, when you
should have thought about that a little differently, Mr. Assassin.
You know, when you watch that pre-alpha footage though for Syndicate, and that's the first thing I noticed, because you guys know me with Assassin's Creed games, I don't stealth.
Right.
I don't. Now I might stealth if I'm doing a walkthrough and it's public, you know, people are following on YouTube, but every Assassin's Creed game I've ever played privately, I just go through and kill everybody.
Right.
I find it's more fun.
Everyone.
I kill everybody. Like I remember talking to Sanad when Assassin's Creed 3 came out. And there was one part where I guess I caught a glitch where enemies kept coming out. They would not stop, like ever. Even when I ran and got hidden, they would keep coming, like even if I broke line of sight. So I sat there, and I actually was gonna make a video of this, but the capture failed. But I sat there for like an hour, literally, and just kept killing people, and I wasn't getting hit, and it was easy. And it's like, why would I need to stealth at all in this game if I can just go through and just murder everybody and it's easy? You know what I mean? Like, it just, stealth games should punish you. I mean, punish you for being seen. And the Assassin's Creed franchise has never punished me for being seen. So it's trying to make me play stealth, and the gameplay mechanics are more weighted for me to play stealth with all the places you can hide and blend, but it's all like pointless to me.
Right. That was always my biggest problem with that game, was because I was like, man, you might as well call it Killer Creed. Like, I mean,
Killer
because
Creed.
like really, I like you said, I don't have to stealth at all
Nah.
in this game. So what's the purpose of me being an assassin, like trying to stay in the shadows and
Yeah.
in some bush hedge,
Yeah.
trying to kill some dude? I mean, just run out there and just mollywop everybody.
Mollywop them.
So,
Oh,
that's
shoot,
why I
son.
bring the mollywhopping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, so that's why I like, you know, I've always had a love-hate relationship with that series.
Yeah,
So,
because if you look at this pre-alpha footage, when they do the gang fights or whatever, it's
Same, isn't
it's that same combat mechanic, man. Because they're talking about, oh, we've even got improved combat, and I'm like, oh shoot, son, let's see it. And you get in there, and it's the same thing, man. He's fighting one person, everybody else is standing around cracking their knuckles, you know, and all this kind of stuff. I feel like if you're doing a third-person fighting game and you don't have Batman level fighting, you
Right.
just missed it.
right.
Like you
I
might
was just thinking of that.
might as well go ahead and just go back and develop your game again, because
Right.
Batman, even though it's not perfect, to me it's the standard for that third person combat, right?
Yeah, for that type of third person combat,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like,
I mean-
Batman nails it. Like, everybody should just be like trying to like take Batman and iterate on top of it.
Yeah,
Like,
copy
say,
their
okay, we
code,
can
man.
Take this right, you know, take this, and if it ain't break, why, you know, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And so, to me, Assassin's Creed is one of those series. So, going back to the annualization point, I feel like that's one of those games that, or series that I feel like should take a breather.
Yeah.
And it's funny though. It's like some game series are they're sneakily becoming annualized.
Yes.
Like Dark Souls. I talked about this before in the video, but Dark Souls, I believe, will be an annualized, or we will get a FromSoft type game every year.
Right.
Where it'd be like a Dark Souls, a Demon Souls, or a Bloodborne. Like,
Yep.
like I think that's gonna be because I was really taken aback when they said Dark Souls 3 coming next year. I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
that's quick,
Yeah.
bro.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, because of the success of Bloodborne, that they can have Bloodborne 2 waiting around the corner pretty soon.
Yeah.
You see, so I have a feeling that's going to become annualized. Battlefield is another one. Today, I was reading that another Battlefield is coming out next year.
Wow, and Hardline just came out.
And if we really add it up, what we had, Battlefield 3, 4, Hardline, and now this next game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, you know, that's another one that people don't think about like it's annualized, but it is.
that's a good point.
And I wish sports games, like I used to be a hardcore Madden player. And then I was just like, man, I can't keep up. Like, I
feel like
it just really bothered me, like repurchasing this game every year.
I feel like the sports games are the perfect games for DLC.
That's what I'm
Yep.
saying, right?
Yeah.
You just buy the roster and
Right.
you
Right.
know, do your thing, and you know, you pay maybe like $20 or $30 instead
At
of
least
full
for like
price.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you
till
do
they-
it-
That's like
yeah.
a major
Right.
improvement.
Like that's
Right.
that's the rare occasions where I feel like DLC actually works. Like a lot of people probably think I'm completely anti DLC, like I'd never buy it, but that's not true. As long as I feel like I didn't get, as long as I feel like I didn't miss part of the experience in the main game,
Right.
Right.
like if it's
Right,
if it's a true
right.
DLC,
Right.
then I'll get it. I'll get it every time. But that's very rare. That I feel like I didn't miss out the first time around when I spent 60. You know,
Right,
that something didn't get cut out. And
And I mean, to your point, I mean, because the other problem is with Madden is like each time they always try to throw in some new mechanic. Like I remember, like one year it was like, okay, they have this like quarterback cone vision, and then they swapped that out, and because people complained about it, then they went to like another mechanic, and I'm like, dude, like just put one in. Let it marinate for like a couple of years, because then that'll also improve the competitive experience too.
yeah.
You know, because people get used and adjusted and they learn the little tricks of the trade. And so just let that marinate for a while and then release like another update. But let me ask you guys this question right now that I think about it. Has Batman become annualized?
I think it's close.
It's over, right? Are they going to do another one?
I don't know. I know Rocksteady has said they ain't doing another one, but that doesn't mean it's
That
over.
doesn't mean it's not going to get put. Yeah, you're
Actually,
right.
that means it's over.
well, don't forget, remember
somebody-
Origins?
You got to
next
take them
person's
at
gonna
their
mess it
word.
up.
Studios.
They would never lie.
Say that means it's over.
It could
No,
be.
I'm just saying, if they're going to change developers, then it's going to be like, oh no, you're not going to trust, because Rocksteady's done a pretty good job. And if they give it to somebody else, it's going to be like,
Because now that I think about it, we got Arkham Knight, we got Origins. Oh, sorry, Arkham City, Origins, and Arkham Knight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, that's like, 3 consecutive years of Batman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, they start annualizing these things, and L1, you were talking about them giving it to multiple studios, and like they
I
have
was talking about
rotation.
teams.
Yeah, or like not studios, but yeah, teams. So like
Right.
within the same studio, we have a few different teams.
Call of Duty
you
does
know,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed does that too. They
Yeah,
have
they do.
different they have different little studios within the Ubisoft
Right.
that are in rotation. And I talked about this with Praetorian. We're going to talk about Syndicate coming up in one of our little discussions.
Can't wait.
Plug.
Spoilers.
And so we kind of talk about that a little bit, where I actually feel like that's not necessarily a good thing, because you were talking, I think it was you, Gaming Arcadia, you were talking before about how it seems like every few years we get a good one, and then the years in between are kind of less quality. I feel like because they have a rotation of studios, it takes them a few years to implement things that they learn from each one. So like you've
and
got
the other two
people
teams
over
get the
here-
shaft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You got people over here, they put out this game, and they're like, okay, cool, so this mechanic worked, this mechanic worked, this mechanic worked. But the team that's creating the next game doesn't know about those mechanics while they're developing their next iteration, so those things that worked are not in it. And it takes a few games down the line to
Sorry, not to
integrate
cut you
it.
off, but just a quick correction. I just was Googling, and yeah, Arkham City actually is every 2 years.
Every
So
2
Arkham
years.
City was 2011, Arkham Origins was 2013, and Arkham Knight was this year, so 2015. So about every year and a half, 2 years. So I just wanted to
Okay.
make that quick correction right there.
Gotcha.
That's good. But yeah, I think even every 2 years is pushing it for
Yeah.
a AAA title, where you've got to do a good narrative, you got to do good combat, and you've got to do good graphics. I mean, I feel like that's probably not enough time.
Right.
I'm gonna throw this out there because I didn't get to complete Black Flag because I got hit with the infinite load screen. I did 80 something videos for that thing and then I couldn't do anymore. I was pretty
I remember you
upset.
mentioning that, boy.
So I didn't complete that, but I gotta be honest with you. I have no idea where this story is right now. I'm confused. I mean, I know we got, I know the premise, but I am sketchy on the details, man. There's so many of these games, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
And I know I read an article the other day that said in Syndicate they are going to put way more emphasis this time around on the real world,
Right.
which I really liked in the other ones, and they kind of got away from that as as less and less and less. I felt like it was more about being in the Animus.
Right.
But they said in this one they're going to go back, and they said they're going to tie it all in, and they explained it as like the Desmond story is considered one cycle of the overall arcing story, and then I guess now we're going to be introduced to a new person, and that is considered cycle 2.
Right.
But Daddy's confused.
I think they lost their way.
I think they should have just kept Desmond and let us just ride this thing out through all the time periods. Maybe that's just me.
Well, see, part of the problem was, from what I remember, because it's been a while, but from what I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, I keep waiting for Desmond to become that ultimate assassin based upon his experiences and his knowledge that he's gained through every time he dives into the Animus. But I felt like that started to go to the wayside, and then they just started going on a whole different tangent altogether. And I think, like, in the first game, like, it was kind of hinting at that, like, he was like, I can't remember exactly, but it was like he was starting to develop these skills.
He could
like,
see the writing on the walls and stuff in the real world, and like, I was like, oh shoot, son.
Right. And then at the start of the second game, if I remember, it was like you could fight. And you're like, whoa, Desmond knows how to fight now because of some of his experience based upon what he went through in Animus.
There you go.
And so it was like, I wish that they had stuck with that and, tried to roll that out better, but I think they kind of lost their way at some point. And then in 4 and Black Flag and Rogue, it took like a weird kind of like, this is like an entertainment experience where anybody could go in, like, it took like a whole
That's what I'm saying.
path.
Like, I'm confused, man.
Yeah, it's one of, honestly, man, it's funny. I remember more of the, and maybe this by not by design, but I remember more of the story in the Animus than what's happening outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you what happened with Altair and Izio and all these other different people. Like I could tell you what happened with their personal stories inside the Animus, but I can't really like express what the hell is going on outside.
Yeah.
This Matrix type device, and
yeah,
so that's where the confusing part is going to be coming. And like you said, I mean, I read the same thing though with Syndicate, where they said that they're going to try to do like both, or where they're going back to focusing on the outside stuff.
Yeah.
I know. I was reading some people were saying back in like 3 or 4 or in between them, they're saying just get rid of the Animus stuff and just give us the game.
Well, see,
in the world.
Here's what I thought was going to happen, and to me, this would have been epic. Right? Is you keep Desmond in for as long as you want to go to these different time periods, and each time he comes out more of a boss. You know what I mean? In real life, like he can jump around, he can do all that stuff.
Right.
And then the final game, you take me to the real world. Like I want to go into the real world as this time period, and I want to just be an assassin in the real world, and then end it, cut it, be done, drop the mic.
Take down the machine in real life.
Yeah,
right.
To me,
that's what I was hoping for too. Like a lead up to us being eventually Desmond is the main assassin.
Yeah, like I wanted it to be. That's where I thought they were going with it, and it seemed like that's where they were going with it. But they didn't go.
The mistake they made. Now that I think about that, and to your point, where they could have capitalized is if each assassin had more of a physical identity in terms of like even their combat skill. Where like let's say each assassin would specialize, like same general mechanics or whatever, but each one were particularly known for this ability. And you have Desmond playing out all these assassins, so on for one assassin he could be good with bow and arrows, and then another assassin he's good with knives, and then another assassin he's good with firearms, and he learns all these skill set until he becomes like the ultimate badass. Yeah. It's almost like that movie with Tom Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow. Where like he keeps reliving every day and keeps fighting every day, and and he keeps becoming a better combatant until he's like he was a scrub. I mean, he was a PR paper pusher at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end, I mean, he was a one-man wrecking army.
Yeah,
and that's what should have happened. That transformation with Desmond, and that. Like you could just see, okay, when he used this skill set, that's what he learned from Altair, or that's what he learned from Kenway, and to me that's where the missed opportunity came into play. Was like not, because even like when you think about like the combat skills from each assassin, I mean they don't really have anything to me that distinctly defines each one of them.
Right, it's just new moves.
It's just new moves,
yeah,
right?
New moves, yeah.
It's new moves, and sometimes they justify some of the new move set because it takes place in a different time period or whatever. But it's nothing that you could look at and be like, like whereas, say for example, and it's not really the same thing, but you look at a game like Street Fighter, like Ken Dragon Punch, that's Ken and Ryu. They have moves distinct to those characters. So when you see something like that in another game, you're like, hey, that's the Street Fighter move.
Yep.
So it wasn't like, so to me that was where like a missed opportunity came into play, where it could have all tied all together.
Something about that Assassin's Creed, baby. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this Syndicate. I mean, I'm gonna play, like you said. I'm gonna, honestly, to your point,
I want to see the new time period. I'm fascinated by the time periods. I love the environment, and that's enough for me to want to buy the game.
Right.
But you guys know story is pretty important to me when it comes to most of these games. Right. And I just don't. Like I said, I didn't. Like I said, I couldn't beat Black Flag, and then I didn't play Unity. So I don't know if I'm going to
miss anything in Unity, because there was no or virtually no present day content in.
See, okay, so that's what they're referring to then. When I read this article, because they said that they steered away from that, and I was like, well, maybe they did that. Because I didn't beat Black Flag, but yeah, I guess what you're saying is Unity, they just didn't have it at all, pretty much in there.
No.
Right.
And see, I think that's a shame, man. Because I think the real world is just as important as these time periods. Like, because that's why you're in these time periods, is because you're in the real world. Jacked into the Animus. So,
but I guess it becomes a detriment when the real world isn't compelling, and I guess from their standpoint,
that's why we're playing video games.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I guess you know what, from their standpoint, because in on the one hand, it is hard because you have to develop two different narratives, right? And you have to develop a story and a narrative and a character base for the inside the Animus and one for the outside the Animus. And I think probably internally they were like, man, let's just do away with this so we don't have to worry about this outside thing.
But now let me ask you guys this: all these PSP games and like the Rogue game that came out, I mean, are those just side games, or are they actually tied into the actual overarching story? Because if they are, I think a lot of people are clueless because not everybody's played every iteration of this thing.
Well, I guess I equate it not to the same extent, and some people might get mad, but it's kind of like Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just got the name on it, but not necessarily.
Right,
okay.
Right, and I mean, because Metal Gear has gone. I mean, it's gone a lot of different places, and even that storyline, even to a certain degree, is for me, like when I think about Metal Gear, I think about certain different aspects, but my thoughts on the overall concept of it is like one of those things where you have to follow it, every little intricate detail to keep up. To me,
yeah.
But like my mind frame on Metal Gear is a little muddled. But it's kind of like that in the sense of like, you know, you have all these different, because they even had like a game for the iPod.
Right, yeah,
one,
yeah.
You know, the iPod, the DS. I don't know if they were the same game, but I know they had one for those. Like you said, the PSP game.
One for the Vita.
The Vita game, right? Yeah, the Vita. Because I think the first
Liberation.
PSP game was a spin-off of Altair.
Right.
Is Bloodlines? Was it Bloodlines?
I can't remember. See, and then now, shoot, I even forgetting about the downloadable games. The one where the
China
recent
War,
ones.
China. What was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
the other guy, the guy in Black Flag, the slave guy. What's his name?
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that. I was.
Oh.
Thinking, that's another one. Yeah.
You're like,
I
that's
was
another
meaning
one.
like I'm saying I was meaning the
What's his name?
side-scrolling game.
Adewale?
Side-scrolling downloadable.
Adewale. That's right.
I couldn't remember.
I didn't
everything.
play
even
4,
the-
so I don't know
the
anybody's
Black
name.
Flag, the
Sorry.
slave guy, I forgot about that.
And that's what
Yeah,
I'm
so-
getting at, because if they've divided their audience that much over different platforms and they actually matter, then I don't think anybody knows anything about the totality of this story. But if it's just like a side game for fun, whatever, for giggles, then whatever. But
I mean, pretty much all you need to know is there's an assassin order, there's a Templar order. They don't like each other for whatever reason, and we battle inside the Animus. That's pretty much the story of Assassin's Creed.
yeah, but see, I want a beast on the Templars in the real world.
Right.
I want to go to their headquarters and assassinate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought that's where they were going with this thing, man. And they still may. I mean, they have said that they know how this thing is eventually going to end. So they say. But I don't know. I just felt like they were going in a direction and they just like axed it. And like you said, then it become like a video game thing. People can go on and take vacations.
Right.
Right.
Go be a pirate for the weekend.
That kind of threw me off, you know?
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
think
what in
what
the
they were
world?
doing with that is like it's the Templars trying to gain power. Because they did have quite a bit of that in 4, where it was like they're marketing it as this thing that people can go and take vacations and da da da. But what they're really doing is trying to gain information through
Yeah.
those
Right.
people doing
Right.
that.
Right.
Right.
And you got to remember too, like you also have that whole precursor race and Juno
That's
and
right.
all
So,
that
yeah, about
stuff
that,
that
yeah.
was happening too. That I think to me it was interesting, but it didn't make a lot of sense.
It
because
didn't.
it was like they were holding back on giving you information about that because they wanted it to remain a mystery.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think what they did is that they made it so obscure that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so people
Thank you.
forget that even exists.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that until you just
Yeah,
mentioned
and if you're telling me that in Unity they didn't even like touch on it that much, then that's even worse. You know, that they didn't really spend too much time on any of that stuff. Or did they spend time on that race in Unity or no?
No, there was literally it was nothing.
It's just the time period.
You go in, you start off, and it's the marketing thing of play this blah blah blah, and here's our previous ones, and it shows little tidbits, or not even tidbits, but it like just shows the previous games. Like these are our previous iterations of the packages that you can play, and here's the new one, and you play, and then you start, and it's all in the past, and there's no present day content, pretty much. I don't think, and so there's nothing about that. And I haven't played Rogue, That's the only major one that I haven't played. I haven't played any of the like Assassin's Creed Pirates or Bloodlines or
card-based games.
Some of those ones that came out for like the phone and for consoles that I don't have. But I've played every other one that's been a major one. And so I haven't played Rogue. So I know that there is more. In
Rogue. I
in
mean,
Rogue.
I played like halfway through Rogue, and it's some of like 4 is in Rogue, and that you play like an engineer or whatever inside the corporation, and some undercover thing going on, and you're trying to figure out exactly what is exactly up with this, and you see some of the previous people from the game showing up here and there, but it's kind of similar, like kind of pretty much like it. Like Rogue almost feels like I guess a spin-off of 4 more than anything else.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So
yeah, I think where we ended off with the major plot line was that Juno is now, because of what, and this is major spoilers alert, people.
Tell me, because I'm not going back and playing.
Just like for people listening, who might be listening to this, like super spoilers. Where it ended off with Desmond at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, and sort of ended his storyline because he ain't coming back.
Yeah, he did. So he gone.
Unless it's his consciousness in the machine, which is possible. Deep. But so he's gone, and I think Juno is now inside the Animus, or inside the technology, and what she's trying to do is gain influence to be able to gain power and exert her will or whatever her agenda is that she ultimately wants. Which I think is probably to reanimate herself and come back and rule or whatever. She's trying to make that happen, and you have what's left of the Assassins crew, Rebecca and the British dude who's pretty awesome. I forget his name. Them trying to recruit people from within the people who are playing the Animus stuff for the Templars. They're trying to recruit them to help them, bring that down. So I think that's sort of the gist of where it's at. But again, it's become sort of convoluted.
Yeah, dude.
I totally forgot about all that stuff, Dread. Like,
yeah,
because like you said, it's. I mean, now that I think about it, I mean, Ubisoft did some serious pimpage with Assassin's Creed. Because I mean, that franchise has been on probably every conceivable platform.
Yeah, like
every platform that could handle a game has had,
and it's multiple times a year. It's not,
okay.
I mean, the console gets one, but then you've got PSP gets something, and like you said, iPhones and iPads and whatnot gets it, and it's like, man, it's just so much, dude. So
yeah, that I mean, and I'm
gonna play it, but we'll see.
See, and it's a shit. I don't know. I always go back and forth, but I don't know if something like just that overexposure of that, I mean, is gonna eventually have a detrimental effect, because on the flip side, you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, or even an Elder Scroll game, and they don't have the same exposure in terms of on multiple devices and coming out every year, and I think those franchises will end up having more legs than an Assassin's Creed franchise. Like at some point, the wheel's gonna fall off, and then Ubisoft gonna have to take a step back and be like, all right, look, we just need to put this thing in the oven for a while, put it in the put it in the freezer, and just let it sit. And we can have to return to that maybe in a couple of years. But I don't think the same will happen with a Grand Theft Auto or like an Elder Scroll game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
because they pick.
Go
sorry.
ahead, Owen. Go ahead.
Like they pick quality over quantity.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it's people get excited for something when it hasn't been around for a while. You know. You look at something and you just get this oversaturation of like, this is in my face all the time. I can't really be excited about it still because it's always there. Whereas if you have those few years in between, it's like, oh yeah, I'm hyped for this new one. And generally they are of better quality. Like you said, L1, you can just be more excited about that because you have that expectation. Whereas it feels like with Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, there's no delayed gratification there.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
we're not going to invest our money into this and make it really good and wait a few years to see the return on profits for that. We got to pump them out right now to keep that money train rolling.
That money train, son.